So this weekend was, of course, Slackoth Community Day, and it was a very strange community day for me personally. But before we talk about that, let's talk about Europe. Europe had some issues with their community day because the weather system in the game went down during Prime Community Day. Why is that so hard to say? The weather system went down during Prime Community Day hours in Europe, and as soon as the weather turned off, pretty much Slackoth disappeared. People were finding huge clusters of Pokemon with no Slackoth in them. So really low Slackoth spawns for a lot of people in Europe. But the good news is Niantic did tweet out with the Niantic support account that they are working on putting together the return of Slackoth. So that probably means a makeup community day later this summer. I'm sure it's just going to depend on finding the right weekend for it since there's a lot going on. We have Pokemon Go Fest coming up in Chicago this week, in Germany soon after that. We already have July's Community Day scheduled, so once they find out or figure out when they can do that, there will be a Makeup Slackoth Community Day for Europe. And maybe, if I'm lucky, it'll be while I'm in Europe later this summer for Pokemon Go Fest in Dortmund. Although, not that I really need more shiny Slackoths, but still, it would be fun to do another Community Day in Europe. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what happened for my Community Day. I was here at the apartment. Pierre and Megan are in town from Taiwan, so I was planning on meeting up with them at downtown Disney. So I was getting ready here, I took a shower, I was getting ready to go, and then I started feeling a little lightheaded. And I figured, I probably just need to eat something. I'll eat when I get to downtown Disney. It's Slackoth Day, I can take it easy, I don't need to rush for shinies. So I get in the car, I start driving, and I'm about halfway to downtown Disney, and it goes from being lightheaded to now feeling really sick and nauseous, and to the point where I felt like I couldn't really drive anymore, so I pulled over and just parked in a Subway parking lot thinking maybe I need to eat right now, but I couldn't even get out of the car. I just sat there in my car for like 15-20 minutes until I felt okay enough to get up and go order a sandwich at Subway. Then I came back, sat in my car, and ate the sandwich like one tiny bite at a time. And I was just sitting there thinking, oh my god, I don't know if I'm going to make it to downtown Disney. I feel awful. Like, it was terrible. And I have no idea what caused it, really. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary that day. I had breakfast, I had some coffee, I took some Advil for my wrist. So I'm sitting there in my car, and Community Day starts. It hits 3 p.m., and I see Slackoth spawning, near Pokestops. There's a park down the street. But I'm sitting there wondering, what do I do now? So after 15 minutes of sitting there, 15 minutes into Slackoth Day, I decided to head to the park that was right down the street from the Subway. So I get there, I park in the parking lot, I set up 2 lures, and I pretty much just camped out between these 2 lures in the car with my eyes closed until a Pokemon spawned, shiny checking Slackoth, and trying not to pass out or throw up. So this is actual footage of what most of my Community Day looked like. Just sitting there, shiny checking Slackoth between my 2 lures, and feeling really, really terrible, and not knowing why. Although I do have to say, shout out to the one person who saw my lures and came over and talked to me, so I didn't have to spend my entire Community Day alone. Technically, I did interact with one member of the Pokemon Go community. But after finishing my sandwich and resting in the car for about 2 hours, I started feeling better. Not great, but better. Well, I'm feeling a little better. I got out and did a lap around the park to clear the natural spawns. I've checked about 50 Slackoth, mostly from my car in this parking lot. No shiny yet. It's 5:21, so there's 40 minutes left. If I don't get a shiny, well, if the next one I check is not shiny, then I think I'm going to head to the most abundant Pokemon habitats known to man, the retail parking lot I'm going to find the nearest shopping center. I'm going to go to the parking lot of the shopping center and hope for a huge cluster spawn. Because, yeah. 2.5 hours about. No shiny yet. So, off we go. Slackoth habitat. Found him. I found him. Or her. I found my shiny Slackoth. Right where you'd expect. Right between a Jack in the Box and a Wendy's. So, 5:30. Clutch. Shiny Slackoth. If it's a male, I'm naming him Jack. If it's a female, I'm naming her Wendy. This is hungry. It's a male. And, of course, his name is Jack. His name's Jack, and I'm probably never going to evolve him because he's perfect as a pink little Slackoth, and Vigoroth and Slacking's shinies are just worse. Much worse. Well, still 30 minutes left, so maybe I can find a bigger parking lot and grab a couple more. Or maybe I should just go home and rest. Either way, I got my one shiny, I got a few that could be good for PvP. I'm happy. I gotta do some evolutions. What a ridiculous community day. Well, I was headed towards the freeway and there was a shopping center and another shiny. This is not the way that I like to play Community Day. By myself and in the car. But it's such a shame that it's easier to find a shiny Pokemon in a shopping center parking lot than it is at an actual park. 2 shinies. Now Jack can have a friend. Nice. Maybe 2 friends. I did end up finding one more shiny in the crazy parking lot cluster spawns, and it really just highlights this issue that sort of bothers me, that is, it's easier to find a shiny in a parking lot than it is in a park. These parking lots just get so many more spawns than a park would, so it's a lot easier to shiny check Pokemon there because there are a lot more Pokemon. And to me, that just doesn't feel right for a game like Pokemon Go. But hey, what do I know? I guess if I was smart, I would have gone and parked at Target and not at the park, but, you know, the park just seems like the place where you play Community Day, not a retail parking lot. Anyway, that's my Community Day story. Oh, I did get one last-minute shiny right at 6, and then, of course, since it was 6, I got trolled. So I ended up with 3 shiny Slackoth on Community Day, which is not bad considering I pretty much thought I was going to die for the first 2.5 hours of it. But anyway, the next day, Ken invited me to an EX raid. So, I went out, did a Deoxys defense form raid, and then some more shiny hunting.
How's your wrist doing?
It's better. Look, I can hold the camera.
Oh, nice.
Alright. Today I got a raid. Ken invited me to the EX raid. So, wait, what was it? I only have one Deoxys, actually. I've gotten probably 3 or 4 EX raid invites, but all when I've been traveling, so I haven't been able to do any of them. This should be pretty quick. We've got almost a full lobby here, so easy raid. I'm glad I'm getting to do a couple of these because it's probably going to change to Speed Form Deoxys sooner or later, and Speed Form is just as useless as Attack Form. So, Defense Form, if you care about PvP, this is the one you want. Alright, that should just about do it. Slower than I thought. But then again, it is Defense Form, so of course it's going to be slow. Fast TM, rare candies, I need those. Forgot what the IVs are. I guess I'll just check after I catch it.
It's fine. It's
Okay.
I don't.
First ball.
Yeah. It's,
I'm gonna catch it.
yeah.
That was easy.
And then runs. Like, I don't care.
Attack.
You
Dang
can do
it.
pineapple berry
I'm
if
looking
you
for
want.
PvP IVs.
Like, I don't.
Maybe I
don't
can
do anything
trade.
fun, but just like.
Okay, wait. This right across the street?
Yeah, it's to the Wells Fargo. And there's a Indian place, but I never had it.
Okay.
But yeah, over there is the shiny hunt, and then we go to the Albertsons right after that.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks. We're going shiny hunting. All right, Ken told me the secret to his shiny catching success. It's this plaza and another plaza, but it's parking lots. Oh, I guess I'm in the wrong part of the plaza, but there's a wild Omastar here. First things first, shiny checks, and of course, it's a parking lot, so it's gonna be crazy. All right, more Pokemon. Here in the parking lot, the most abundant Pokemon habitat in Pokemon Go. I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people come through and park, a lot of different people come through, so there's a lot of cellular activity from different people, which is what leads to crazy spawn points like this. And Niantic is so in love with their algorithm that they won't tweak it. I don't know why they can't just increase spawn rates in parks. Why can't you just do that? They've already made it so that parks can be identified as nests or EX raid eligible. Why not just tweak the algorithm a little bit to increase spawn rates in parks so that I don't have to come to a parking lot to do shiny hunting? All right, another cluster of shiny checks. Same parking lot, different parking space. Just to be clear, I have nothing against people who shiny hunt in parking lots. I mean, obviously, this is one of the best ways to find a consistent number of Pokemon spawns. Just for a game that calls itself Pokemon Go and says its goal is to get you outside, I don't know. Seems like you might want to encourage foot traffic somewhere else. You really want people walking or driving through parking lots and trying to catch Pokemon? Also, I'm not trying to get spawns removed from parking lots. I'm just saying add spawns to parks. It's that simple. Alright, this parking spot's not for the cluster. It's for the food. Let's eat. So just to close it out, again, I have nothing against people who shiny hunt in parking lots or, drive from shopping center to shopping center on Community Day, because Niantic has just made it so that that is a really efficient way to find shiny Pokemon or to find lots of Pokemon in the game. And I don't, by any means, I don't want to take those spawns away from people, because especially for rural players, sometimes Walmart is the best place to play in town. But I would like to see spawns increased in parks. Maybe not all the time, but at least for Community Day or during events. If you want to encourage people to go to the park, why not just increase spawns in parks? Makes sense to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you soon.